Hey guys, this is Brad from Blue Nile Farm. A couple months ago, a coworker of mine downloaded an app, and it's called ChatGPT on my cell phone. And I thought it was just another traditional search engine, and I really didn't understand how to utilize it. The longer I played with it, the longer I found that ChatGPT became my new best friend. ChatGPT allows you to ask a variety of questions in pretty much anything in life, and will come up with a solution that's not only informative but it's also sensitive to your needs and gives you a good foundation on uh, approaches and how you can react to different situations. And every question you ask it, it will continually provide more in-depth answers. Do I have your interest? I should, because ChatGPT is probably one of the most helpful things that I found in my life. It's almost like having a local friend or an expert standing right next to you, giving you the solutions. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about ChatGPT, how you can use it, how it can better your life, and how it'll make you more successful in the things you do. So stay tuned. So what is ChatGPT? Well, ChatGPT is a artificial intelligence which is created by a company called OpenAI. And when I think about artificial intelligence, I always think about robotics. And in a sense, it's really not that. It's more like a computer program that has human-like tendencies that if you ask it a question, it would respond back to you just like you're talking to a friend or a human professional in a certain line of work. And so it's like kind of like a one-stop shop, and that's what I find so intriguing about it. Is if I have a question, regardless whether it's a psychological question or maybe it's about building something or working on a piece of equipment, it pretty much can give me the answers I'm looking for instantaneously versus me searching out other individuals. And it's kind of cool in that regards. And what's nice is when they designed ChatGPT, all the information that they have put into it through websites, books, and other written material helps in this language that it basically searches to give you the proper response. But what's unique about it, it's different than if you have a search engine that you normally deal with on the computer. What happens is it is all that and more, because if you ask it a question, it will respond, and then you can ask it another question and it retains the information that you already asked it, and it's just like talking to a person. Whereas if you were searching a search engine, the search engine itself would have to give you a response, and if you didn't ask the right question, you're going to have to ask it again. Here you ask a question that could be broad, then you can get more specific, and the more specific, and it will keep giving you feedback to the point where it's just like talking to a person. And that's what makes it so cool. ChatGPT is exactly like talking to a person, actually a little bit better, because it's probably giving you better advice than what a person would. And that's why I say it's just like talking to your best friend. It's awesome. And it's always changing, because as time goes on, the more information that ChatGPT keeps learning, it's going to keep recycling itself and getting better and better. So I think that ChatGPT is something that, somebody like me that's old school technology, you can try it out, and I think you're going to be more than happy with using a program like this because it has answers. And the answers it gives you are relatively pretty slick. So for the sake of time, I want to kind of show you some of the questions I asked ChatGPT. This is actually a ChatGPT screen. And I wrote a question, and the first question I wrote over here was, I want to quit my job. And basically the response I got from ChatGPT was, I'm sorry to hear you're feeling this way, but I'm glad you're reaching out. Do you want to talk about what's making you feel like quitting, or do you have any specific plans or concerns about leaving? Sometimes it helps to talk through things. And then I wrote, my boss does not like my work ethic. And the next question is, sounds tough. It can really be challenging when you feel like your work ethic is being judged negatively, especially if you feel like you're putting in the effort. If you share specific concerns with you, or is it more of a general feeling that you're getting from them? Sometimes addressing those concerns ahead on can help clear things up, but I totally get if you feel like it's a dead end. Then I say, what should I do? And then it provided me with a lot of different examples of getting clarity, evaluate your work ethic, open a dialogue with your boss, self-care, and explore other opportunities. Then I stated, can you help me with the termination letter? kind of like I'm ready to quit. And then ChatGPT wrote an example of a termination letter that is more specific for me to leave my employment. So it's kind of cool that you ask it a question and it comes up and generates new ideas that you need. And then it also leaves in there if you have any specific details you would like to modify or explain why you're leaving, feel free to let GPT know and it'll adjust it for you. So it's really kind of slick that it allows you the opportunity to make changes as you go. So this is one example. So let me show you another example that I think is kind of cool. And this kind of, again, gives you an idea of what we're talking about when we're talking about how ChatGPT responds. Now, you can notice my first question here says, how can I make money on my farm? And I have a question mark there. Be aware that you don't necessarily have to have a question mark for it to treat it like a conversation. A lot of times it already knows that. So punctuation is not a big deal. And a lot of times if you misspell words or you don't phrase it properly, it still doesn't matter. ChatGPT works right through it and problem solves it. So I just want you to know that up front. So anyway, I have a farm. I'm going to just talk real briefly on how this program works. And so I type a question, how can I make money on my farm? And it produces just a very broad area on all kinds of different ways that you can make money on your farm. And it came out just based on that one little sentence. So it talks about all kinds of different forms of making money. So then I come down to here and I say, well, I only have horses, just like a conversation. And then it talks about all the ways I can make money with horses. It talks about boarding services, training, trail riding, breeding, selling horses, and so on and so forth. And basically, because I looked into this whole list and I think, hey, boarding horses is kind of cool. So I'll say, tell me more about boarding horses. And then it kind of goes through all these details from that one question about types of boarding, what full care boarding is, and it talks about partial boarding. And it kind of covers that a little bit, pasture board and self board. Talks about pricing your boarding stable and the location, setting up the farm, and so on and so forth. How to attract clients, extra income you can make, some of the legal considerations, the challenges to consider. And then I say, what is partial board? I want to have more of a specific answer of what that actually is. And it kind of breaks down what partial boarding is and some of the issues that are affected by boarding. That's considered partial board. Then it talks about advantages of partial board and things to consider. Then I write another question here. I say, and then I made a typographical error. Do I need special barn or stable? Again, it starts to provide questions about how the barn is built, stable size, safety, ventilation, lighting, pastures, turnout area, watering systems, and so on and so forth. Then I ask it a question completely on the topic but different. I go, are there pitfalls to boarding? It talks about all the liability issues and issues about dealing with people, overcrowding of the barn, time and labor, client expectations versus reality. Then I ask it a question again, and the last question I'm going to leave it as, what is the biggest issue with boarding in general? And it basically talks about how liability and risk management are the biggest issues. It talks about injuries to the horses, injury to people, and injury to property, and how you should mitigate your risk by having liability insurance. So basically, it provides you with enough information very quickly on very few questions. Now, if we were using ChatGPT and I was trying to find all this information out on a website or doing a search on a search engine on the internet, I'm sure it would not provide me with this much information so quickly. But what's nice is this gives you a starting point that you can go to YouTube, or maybe you can go on to dig a little deeper by using search engines to get more information to help you out. But it's kind of cool that just by asking simple questions, ChatGPT provided all this information, and it's pretty slick. Now, if you have a paid version, I think you can do more with the audio and stuff like that. This is a free version. I just type something out. You can use your phone, like I said. You can use a tablet, or you can use a computer, and you can get this kind of information very quickly. But I just wanted to show you a real quick example of how ChatGPT works and how it could serve you. And this is just some basic programs. There's more that you can do with this, and it's only up to your creativity for you to find out what ChatGPT can deliver. The one thing about ChatGPT is I've never found anything that has not been able to do for me. And any question I ever asked it, it's always provided me with a very good, quick response. So if you're looking for quick advice for the day or quick advice that you just need it, you know, that you don't really want to share with anybody, but you really want to find out, what you should do. I don't care if it's a medical issue. I don't care if it's an interpersonal issue. I don't care if it's a relationship issue. Even if you wanted to come up with an idea how to surprise your wife, there's so many different things that are out there that if you don't question and try this out, I think you're missing the boat on one of the easiest, freest programs that are out there, and it can open up so many doors for you. And I don't want to take away the concept of you thinking out of the box, but ChatGPT is really something else, and it really puts kind of like a human touch to it, where you can rely on a program that I think is pretty well versed and more educated than probably most of your friends that are giving you the advice. And it's a great starting point. And any way you're trying to brainstorm or create something or write something out, ChatGPT can help you do that. I mean, I'm sure if I wanted a 500-word essay on, how to deal with my divorce, or how can I make myself happy in 500 words or less, I'm sure ChatGPT would probably write something out for you exactly the way you need it. So what I'm trying to say is it's a great program. It's a great thing. It's not the mean all tell all best thing out there, but it is really pretty fabulous. And it may not be exactly 100%. It probably has a few flaws, but it's up to you to decide what you want to work with and choose and what you don't. But at least gives you a better answer and more of a human type answer question relationship than traditional methods of checking on a search engine. And I think it's really cool. So if you're an older person like myself, I think it would be very helpful to you. And I think it's something you should check into. If you're a younger person, you probably know about this, but I'm guessing probably 50% of the people out there have never tried ChatGPT, and I really wanted to kind of tell you that this is one of the coolest things that I found. I think it's a great program, and I think it'll do a lot of good for you if you want to try it out. So I think it's well worth exploring. Hey guys, in closing of the video, this ChatGPT is a free program. It's something you can download. I suggest you get it on your phone. I think that's the best place to have it, but I also have it also on my notebook or tablet. I think that's great too. But you can also use it for a computer, and I'll tell you, for a free program that gives you answers and it quickly, you can't beat this thing. And I'll tell you, I think you're going to enjoy it because you don't have to ask specific questions, and it's conversational. It is exactly like having a friend with you at all times and a great guide. So try it out, and I challenge you, let me know how this works out. Try it and see. And if you find something that's flawed or gives you bad advice, I'd like to know about it. But if you really like it, I also like to know about it too. I'm not getting paid for anything from ChatGPT. I just think it's an awesome program. It's exciting to use, and I really like it. And I think that until you explore it, I think you really don't truly appreciate it. Just the fact of asking it simple questions and how it retains that memory, and you just keep building on a conversation. That's what's so slick about it. It has farming applications. You can use it for farming, for gardening, for anything else. Human being interaction, it will help you resolve problems with your friends and your family. If you're having issues or somebody has a drug problem, ask it these questions. I challenge you to do this. I want you to do this because I'm going to tell you, it is awesome. And I don't even know what else to tell you. It's like a database on wheels, and it's awesome. So with that said, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Check this out, ChatGPT. It's free. Get on it and let me know. Talk to you guys later.